The South Node in Aries and the North Node in Libra is a placement which spells out one single word. And that is loneliness. Being so caught, I don't want to even use that word because I use it so much, so familiar with being in a survival mode, of having to survive and having to always fight and having to always battle and having to always be selfish and impulsive, because if you didn't act, then you'd feel like you'd get hurt. And so there's this feeling of like needing to find peace and harmony. So in this life with the North Node and Libra, you're learning diplomacy, tact, relationship. You're going to the school of relationship and you are taking classes and you are learning how to do relationship in a way that is true for you, and it also creates reciprocity and mutual love. This video, which I don't think at first will get a whole lot of views. I want to, announce, before I even get into it, I am very, very frustrated right now because my videos are not getting very many views. I don't understand. They barely get the video I put out today and yesterday or a week ago. It didn't, barely got any views, and I don't know what's going on. Don't know if YouTube changed its algorithm, or I know that these videos are very, very long, but the videos were long earlier, and yet they got more views, so that's why I'm very, very confused. So, but I'm going to do this for me. I am worthy regardless of how many views I get or how many followers. I have to constantly remind myself of that, and I'm going to do it how I want to do it. Now, also, I may decide to timestamp videos only when I, feel like it, and only when I have extra time will I probably go on and maybe timestamp videos. But, well, I'll allow myself the option to timestamp, but I won't obligate myself to it, because these are podcasts, and typically you don't timestamp a podcast episode. It's just you're there to listen to it. So this is a podcast episode. The 12 sign horoscopes are timestamped because that's what they're supposed to be, because they're for the different signs. But these are podcast episodes, and so that's why I don't really timestamp these. If they were regular videos, I would probably reconsider. But I post on YouTube and Spotify at the same time, and so with that, I'm open to it, yet there's something about like when I listen to these, I like to listen to it as if it's the first time I've listened to it, and I like the novelty of it, and so I just don't like sitting in timestamping, plus it takes a lot of time and to do that, and so I just, but hopefully that does not deter the videos from getting views. They are long, and I'm not going to apologize or get around that, but, this world is not a black and white place. There are going to be those who are going to watch it or want to watch it, and there are those who are not. Just a lot of videos and a lot of competition, a lot of, I'm a drop in the ocean compared to the videos out there. I'm just a drop in a bucket. And so some will have the time and will want to invest in seeing the video, maybe not watching all of it, but maybe just getting enough where they need, at least just getting a view. And also, and then some won't. It's like, people won't have time for this. People are this. People are that. The world is, and this is a Libra North Node lesson, by the way, that they can learn from, is that the world is not a black and white place. It is a nuanced gray place. And so whenever I hear like employers won't hire you if you do this. There's ethical things, obviously, but it does depend. If you're expressing your authentic self on social media, for instance, then some are going to respect it and some are going to like it and some are not. So, Like, some people are going to like you and some are not going to like you. Okay? That's just the fact of life. And, so, you know, I don't need anyone to break hard truths to me. In fact, I should be the only one who breaks hard truths in my life right now at my age. You know, if you're breaking a hard truth to me, you have to do it in a gentle and loving and compassionate way where you're sitting down and having a conversation and understanding who I am and where I'm coming from, in a way where I can sit with it and really understand it. But, yeah, hard truths, just preaching hard truths, no. No. I don't preach hard truths in these videos that I don't agree with and don't understand. I try to phrase it around it, like that video I was making about Neptune, the second house, with money, and how I was talking about, well, you know, you have to, you're going to have money troubles, and you have to get with your finances, and and this is harsh reality. Like, don't tell me this is how it is, and this is just a harsh reality. You had better back it up with some compassionate, spiritual explanation if you're going to tell me that. Okay? Because I will be so incredibly resistant to it. And I tried to phrase the Neptune in the second house in a compassionate way. And with these videos, I don't want to break hard truths with these North Nodes. You know, like, there's this lady on YouTube who does videos, this very, very popular channel, over 1,000 subscribers. She did videos on the North Node based off of Jan Spiller's Astrology for the Soul, which I will get into. And she was just very blunt and very preachy and like we make the mistake with these North Nodes that this is what you have to do. This is what you must move into. These are the lessons that you have to learn. You have to, you know, it's like the North Node is not what you have to do. It's what your soul wants to do, what feels right to do, not the comfort zone you're stuck in, but the direction that your soul is whispering toward you to go towards. If you didn't want to go towards that, you don't have to go towards that. You have free will to choose which, you know, how you want to live your life. And if you didn't want it, if a part of you didn't want it, then why would you have to go towards it? And if your South Node was working out for you in your life, then why fix something or change something if you're already the South Node? And if the South Node, if you're in the South Node, it's working out for you, then you probably went to your North Node. Like, you probably evolved through your North Node. If you're in the positive, like if you're South Node and Leo, and you're creative, and you're generous, and you're heartfelt, and you're using your heart, not your ego, then you have evolved through Aquarius, the North Node Aquarius. And I'm not going to go into exactly how, but, you know, it's that kind of thing. So you shouldn't be preachy. Like, you know, I'm going to try not to be preachy in these videos, but if I should say something and it sounds preachy, I'm going to try to phrase it in a really compassionate way as I can, and I want to take every placement and go deep with them and go compassionately with them. And this placement that I'm going to delve into today with, you know, with the South Node in Aries, I am an Aries sun sign, and so it's leaning towards the opposite sign, so I don't want to, you know, put down and minimize and insult and make all negative my sign, because I feel very, very positive about my sun sign, Aries. So, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, you know, this is going to be long, so get comfortable. I'm going to go very, very deep, and we're going to plunge deep down into the waters of this placement. And, you know, when I did this video back in the summer of 2023, what happened was there was a bowl in the sink that I had, which had pancake from the pancakes that I had for breakfast, and I had really, really bad OCD at the time. Put my hand in, I was insecure if my hands were clean or not, so the whole video I was insecure, and this was on my original channel. I'm going to post it on my, you know, channel that I am currently posting on now later. when I get to it, I was insecure that whole video because, like, are my hands clean? I couldn't deny that thought. Like, I can't just deny thoughts. Like, I can't sit and just surrender and just relax about it. Like, I have to act on it because I can't, like, compartmentalizing for me about those things is just something I can't do. That's something very, very difficult for me to do, and yeah. So hopefully this will be a much deeper treatment of the North Node in Libra, and I want to phrase this in the kindest, most real, most deep, most compassionate way I can to deliver this message. So now, without further ado, let us delve right in. I'm going to start with Jan Spiller's Astrology for the Soul, and then I'm going to go even deeper with more information. So, first of all, what I'm going to do is, with this book, Jan Spiller's Astrology for the Soul, on the nodes, I'm going to turn to the dates for the North Node in Libra. The first time that the North Node was in Libra was from July 22nd of 1902 to January 15th of 1904. So you can look. How you know you'll have the North Node in Libra is you were born during one of these dates. So this is the first date. I doubt that none of you watch. I know that none of you watching this are born during these dates. So we can eliminate that right away. The second time that it entered Libra in the current, in the 20th century, so to speak, February 8th of 1921 through August 23rd of 1922. And then again from September 13th of 1939 through May 24th of 1941. I know that Joan Baez was born January 1941, so she has a displacement. Then again from June 17th, 1958, and somebody who was born in the summer of 1958 was a spiritual teacher, called Baron Reed, who had a very, very childhood of drinking and, drugs and drinking and alcohol, and her mother, she had a very, very dysfunctional relationship with her mother. It was, inconsistent, and on one level she would be very, very, wanting to connect and wanting to do things with, and the other she would be very, very strict and controlling, and I'm going to talk about the dynamic of that when I get into this placement more. But she is leaning towards Libra. But spiritual teacher, oracle card creator, creator of oracle school, etc., thought leader, leaning toward Libra because, she was with a husband that really gets her, and, the North Node in Libra is really about choosing relationships that are true for you. Okay, it's not choosing to harmonize with people that are just not for you. That's not what it's about. So she is leaning into that, I think, very, very strongly. And then somebody else who also has this placement between June 17th of 1958 to December 15th of 1959 is Emma Thompson, the actress Emma Thompson, and then it entered Libra again from January 8th of 1977 through July 5th of 1978. Okay. Then again, looking here, August 1st, 1995 through January 25th of 1997, Aurora, the music artist Aurora. If you've ever heard her, she's Norwegian, has very, very popular. She also has this placement. And then, again, from the time that I'm going to talk about this a little bit, February 19th of 2014 through November 11th of 2015. I want to chat about this a little bit, because I want to make this a real podcast. So, already I'm rushing this. I'm going to stop rushing it. I have all the time in the world to talk about this and go as deep as I want to. So, not rushing, presence, calm. Let's stop it. So, basically, that was when, and Mars was retrograde. And I spoke about this on my podcast called My Negative Experience of Teachers Abusing Their Power in the Classroom. One of the transits that was going on during that period when the North Node was in Libra between February 2014, it's going to read off the dates for you again, February 19, 2014 to November 11th, 2015. Mars retrograde in Libra. It's very, very tough because you can't find a peaceful environment with Mars retrograde. You have to constantly, bend over backwards to create the peace. You're, trying to survive in unharmonious surroundings. You're very, very, again, I discussed that astrology on that podcast episode really, really in depth, so I'm not going to go through it a whole lot here, because I want to get into the meat and potatoes of what this is actually about. And that was at the beginning of 2014, but wow, this is so real. This is so real, I can't even tell you, because from September of 2014 to May of 2015, those were very, very brutal months. I was with a 5th grade teacher who was very firm, very intense, a force to be reckoned with. And I went in depth on her on the podcast. But, the South Node in Aries is negative power dynamics, like, really, really destructively, selfishly using your power, being very, very, aggressive and domineering, and, I'm going to fight you and I'm going to control over you. And she was very, not very, very calm and harmonious and peaceful and balanced and respectful of herself, because that was her rule. Respect herself, that was her only rule, and she didn't do that because she hurt. She really did not use her energy, manage her anger very, very well. And Aries has a lot of anger, and it's about learning to manage that and learning to be peaceful and be harmonious. And she could really, really benefit from Libra energy and Libra individuals in her life, because wow, was she reflecting that South Node in Aries. She is kind of showing the Aries shadow, really, really an embodiment of the Aries shadow. Too assertive, too loud, too mad, too intense, not using her anger with awareness. And I'm going to talk about the shark dynamic with the South Node in Aries. But at that time, the world was leading toward diplomacy, peace, harmony, relationship. The South Node in Aries, North Node in Libra, is not about disowning who you are. It is about being who you are, and taking all this unworthiness about yourself, about needing to always protect yourself and always survive and always fight, and find peace and balance and harmony within yourself, and equilibrium within yourself, so that you can form harmonious relationships. Like, it's an inner thing. Like, if you respect yourself and if you're secure within yourself, then you'll respect others. Like, that was the thing that I did agree with her with. She just didn't embody that very, very well. Like, if she just took a breath and, just spoke, just matter-of-factly or frankly, just what was going on, instead of yelled and screamed and got all mad and, got all intense, then she would be evolving through Libra. And, it's like we're meant to heal the South Node and move into the positive side of the South Node by evolving through the sign of the North Node to heal the South Node. So it isn't abandoning the South Node. So, we're not discarding it and leaving it behind. Okay, we're balancing it out, we're healing it. And how to heal the South Node, Mark Lawrenson talks about the South Node as something that needs healing, like an emotional memory that you come in with that you're very, very familiar with, that is a wound that needs healing. You can heal that through the North Node. And I'm talking about the wound and the thing when I get into this podcast, but that was what went on at that time in my life that was really, really strong. Anyway, I want to delve into the attributes to develop and tendencies to leave behind. So I'm going to turn directly, and I'm doing this video tonight. I'm doing 2 videos today because on the day that I'm recording this, because I'm going to be going away for a week, April 13th through April 18th, I think. April 12th through April 18th, I will not be making videos. I'll still be posting on my YouTube channel and updating that with posting videos for my other channel. So I'll still be posting, but there'll be no podcast episodes from me. There will be no podcast episodes from me, as I'm just doing as many as possible when I have the energy to, so that I can feel more accomplished before just taking an entire week off. And I don't want to do this, but I have to for my health. Taking an entire week off and doing videos. So I'm doing this in the evenings. Hopefully it won't be too late by the time I get done with this. So, let us turn now to the page, and I really, really want to go deep with these characteristics, and I won't. I'll just say what I can say with these. I think I expect myself to go super in depth and squeeze out everything, but it's okay if I don't cover every little thing that there is to cover with these. It's like you have to just release the attachment for it to be perfect and for it to be so deep, like always needing to explain everything and do all that. Some things I may say, and I may not explain because I just may not have the words to explain it at this point in my life, or just in general, and that's just, I'm just going to accept that. So, do what I can and accept it. So, it's like, it's okay not to always have the answers, not always be able to know and be able to explain everything so articulately. Like, I'm very, very articulate and I can explain everything so well, so insightfully, but some things I can't explain as well as others and as deep as other things. And sometimes I don't have words for those things. So that's just the reality. And so if there's tendencies that I don't spend a whole lot of time on, that's a small detail. The forest for the trees. That's small. I went over a lot of things more in depth in this video than that one tendency. So yeah. So turning to page 271. Turning to page 271. Okay. So I'm going to start with the tendencies to leave behind. Because you start off with the South Node, then how to develop through the North Node. I think it makes more sense to do it this way. So these are the, and, I don't like this book. I have an issue. She doesn't say, oh, well, these are the gifts of your South Node. This is what you already come in with. That is already a talent that you're already good with that you can use in a North Node way, because that's what you're meant to do, is to take your South Node gifts and talents and use them in a North Node way. And also the mistakes that you can make and the pitfalls that you may think that you're moving to your North Node, but you're really in your South Node. Like, she can also, talk about that. I think that would give more information, and it would be very, very deep, even deeper and more nuanced if she did that. So, I do think that she is kind of ignoring that nuance of the nodes, and that's kind of the issue that I have with this, because the South Node is not all bad. There are a lot of good qualities. It's just the shadow sides need to be released and healed. So, very similar to, Chiron, like wounds and all those kind of things. Eventually I'll do videos on Chiron because it's fascinating. Chiron is fascinating. I really, really want to do individual podcast episodes for each Chiron in the signs and Chiron in houses, because it will be so deep, so profound, I can tell you that much. So spiritual, also very, very spiritual. So these nodes are very, very spiritual in nature. And so yeah. So the South Node in Aries, we're going to talk about this, and I may very well have some things to say against what I'm going to be reading and have to rephrase how I say these tendencies. So, what I'm going to say is, you can get whatever you want in your life. You have the freedom to live your own life the way that you want to live it. You don't have to cut off your own desires and your own identity and your own wants and your own needs. It's just, don't approach it from your ego, basically. That's what I'm going to just tell you right off the bat. Like, don't approach it from your ego. Don't approach it in that wrong, shadowy way. Approach it in a kinder, softer, more evolved way. But you can really get whatever your heart desires, and following your heart and following your soul and your identity. Like, those are all good things that come in with this placement. So let's just do the first thing. One of the downsides of Aries energy is impulsiveness. That's what it says here. Aries has this tendency to just, Aries South Nodes come in with this strong, just doing things without they do things without thinking about the consequences of those actions. That's this low word of Aries. Like, they do things without thinking of, if I do this, how will it affect others? If I do this, what will be the consequences of it? So there is this kind of impulsive quality, where you just don't look at, because their decisions very, very carefully. Because Aries is like a go-get-em energy. It has a desire and it just goes in that direction instantly. Like, Aries is an impulse energy. It doesn't function on the complications of the mind and decisions to make. It's very, very simple, because it's very, very primal fire. It's very like the baby, like a child. Like, I have a desire and I have not a lot of nuance, and I have the strong desire and the motivation and drive to do it. So I'm going to do it. And because I can, like, Aries just does something without needing to check in and do it. This is a good thing. Not having to rely on others for things. Not having to ask permission for others for things. Not having to always, check in and say, is this okay with you? Should I do this? Pleasing the other. And this placement is not about pleasing the other. Okay? No. No. So, this is a good thing. When it's not so good of a thing is when it shows up in your reality and you just act out of impulse, and it just, and it just comes back to haunt you because you did something, you followed your impulses, and it was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that because now it hurts somebody, or now it, now me trying to fight and survive, which I'm going to get into, or just doing something, acting on it, while it didn't benefit me, it didn't benefit another. And the thing is, Libra North Nodes want peace and harmony, and they need relationship. And so if you want, it's like you want to get what you want, but these are the shadows to release. These are the tendencies that you need to that are healthy for you, and I want to say good for you to be aware of and release. So that is the first tendency. And going along with that, taking others down just for your own gain. Taking others down, being very self-assertion, because the next tendency is thoughtless self-assertion. So, another shadow side of Aries is, and actually, aggression. Thoughtless self-assertion, don't think that she was being very, very specific with this. Aggression is what it should be. Aggression. Like, don't be passive where you're just letting the world just do whatever it wants to do around you, and you're just sitting and you're not doing anything, and you're not standing up for yourself. But you don't need to be aggressive about it where you're mean and harsh and angry, and where it's destructive and it hurts others, and it doesn't bring you closer to another. Like the point of conflict, and healthy conflict and battle, is to bring you closer to another. And so you will not do this if you fall into this tendency of aggression. So if you act in aggressive ways, then the consequences of that you're not going to have as healthy relationships, you're not going to have as harmonious relationships. Like that is how it is. Like, wouldn't you want to move away from the person if they were aggressive and on you and angry at you and forcing their will upon you unsympathetically, unkindly, empathetically? Like, one of the lessons of this is to treat others how you want to be treated. This is big for the North Node in Libra. It's to treat others how you would want to be treated. So if you want to be treated in a kind, loving, diplomatic way, which is what your soul wants, it needs that social connection, then treat others that way. Treat others in that kind and considerate way. The next tendency is lack of awareness of others' need for support. You're so focused on your own needs, your own goals, your own wants, what you want, what you need in this immediate moment, and the impulses that you need. And I think that you'll find, like, when you support others, and there's something so fulfilling about relationship. There's something so fulfilling about supporting others with their needs and wants and desires, and being there for another, and showing your courage, strong, true self to another. So, so that is, and acknowledging, like, others, need support, and so you're here to have mutual relationships. You're here to give and take. Understanding the importance of give and take. And I have it written down, and I want to look up give and take, the definition of that, again, just because it's, coming up. Give and take is, mutual, where both partners are supporting each other emotionally, mentally, and both partner feels respected. So that is give and take relationships. You're here to learn that. You're here to learn reciprocity, which I will be talking about later on in this video. The law of reciprocity, big lesson for this placement. I have to tell you that right now. And then another aspect of this is that I'm going to talk about compromise here, because that's a big lesson with Libra North Node. So, lack of, where both partners are supporting each other. Both partners are balancing each other out in their relationship. Self-centeredness. Oh gosh, Jan. I hope that you were clear on your book, because I read this and I didn't read it. She said, I remember her saying, self-love is not healthy for people with this placement. Like, they should avoid self-love. And I'm like, wow. I disagree with that. In fact, you don't love yourself, because, the fact is, you need to love yourself in this lifetime and needing to learn self-love because you don't feel secure in yourself, because you feel you have to protect yourself, and you don't, like, self-love is feeling secure about yourself. And so if you don't feel secure in yourself, you need to protect yourself and defend yourself and try to survive and try to protect your identity and shield your identity through your ego. And so self-love, Jen, is very, very healthy for this placement. Okay, very, very healthy. I read this chapter and she said that. I disagree with that completely. Okay? No. Okay, self-love is a healthy thing for everybody. Aries South Node, Libra North Node included in that. And it is not a negative. Self-centeredness is basically saying you are operating from your ego. The downside of Aries is the downside of both Aries and Leo is ego. When you're operating from your ego, you're fighting, you're competing, you're aggressive, and you're dominating, and you're too impulsive, and you're intimidating, and you're this and you're that, like all these strong Aries qualities. Like, I'm going to take you down and do all this stuff. Like, the ego is you against another. The soul is we are all one. Like, when you are true to yourself and in your identity and living from the inside out and following your soul with what you authentically want in your life, then that is not self-centered. Okay? Self-centered is, I am doing this and it is hurting others in my life, because, like, when you're operating from your soul, you are not hurting others in your life. And if you are, you don't have the problem, they do. Okay? That's not your side of the street to clean up. When you're operating from your ego, that's where it can get self-centered, selfish. And going along with that, selfishness. Just the same point that I was making. I don't need to emphasize this any further here. And I don't think that you're a self-centered person, but you can fall into the tendency of that. You can fall into the tendency of that because of the conditioning that you were, born into, which I'm going to really, really delve deep into this video. I think that, anyway. So, selfishness. Operating from your ego. This is a tendency that you can fall into. There's a lot of complex layers to this that I hope that I'm going to somehow piece together, even though not intending to try to piece it together. So hopefully you're going to get that picture in this video. The next tendency says, okay, this is deep. Wow, this is very interesting. Lack of good judgment regarding money. Oh, my Neptune in the second house is like, wow, so resistant. Well, this basically means save your money. Like, you are meant to save and spend at the same time. You're not meant to just spend it all. All at once, and you're not meant to just save it all and just accumulate, not use it. So don't just, spend and be reckless and, just spend it on things. Like, we can get caught in the shiny things. We can get caught in, oh, I want that right now. Oh, that looks good. I want that right now. When we see a commercial, that commercial triggers us in the mind. A commercial hooks us into that thing based off of the colors, based off of the message that they're selling. Like, we want that now. I want that now. Like, Mom, can I have that now? And you're so just willing, I want that. And it's like an immediate thing, like an immediate impulse. Like, I want that, and you're just spending your money just out of impulse. Like, take a breath, slow it down, consider, do I really, really want to spend my money on this? Is it really worth my financial investment? Or is it something that I don't really want? Because sometimes we can get so caught up in the shiny desire of what it is that we don't check in with ourselves and sit with it enough inside ourselves and checking with, does this feel true for us? Do we really, really want this, as opposed to just the egoic impulse? Like, just reacting out of impulse on it instead of dropping in and seeing if this is really, really true for us. Like, if we truly want this thing. So I think that's what she means by that. Expecting others to be like oneself. Jan, I think with this, you, as wise as you are, the latter part of this video is going to be more deep and more compassionate, more gentle. And this is really, really highlight, wow, an Aries South Node. An Aries person with a lot of Aries energy who has an Aries South Node who, let's just say, an Aries South Node. Aries is an angry sign that doesn't want to be told what to do and what's right and what's wrong with them. It doesn't like to be criticized. It doesn't like to be just told all these negative things about itself, and like, you're self-centered and you're all this. Like, oh my gosh, I just hate it when people call me that and tell me that. My family member, my family has told me that, and it just, I have Chiron in the first house, and so that's a wound, identity, and so I'm just very, very resistant to that, and I just think that Jan is just spurting out all these things that are, very, very, very negative and very, making it all a bad thing. Making it all a bad thing that you are so connected with your identity. Like, you have to understand, all of this that she is talking about is through the ego, okay? Like, the ego is not a bad thing. I don't want to even say that, but there are downsides to the ego, and that's what she's referring to as the ego. So these are all egoic tendencies. You can drop into your soul and be your Aries South Node self and not fall into these negative tendencies. And you're at peace with yourself. North Node and Libra, being at peace with yourself. Okay, in order to be peaceful with others, and then you'll want to have relationships, and you'll be peaceful with others in your life, and boom, you'll be following that Libra North Node. So, I have some strong feelings on this particular placement, and there's some things I do not agree with in this. So expecting others to be like oneself. This is a tough decision for me of how I'm going to talk about this. I'm just going to give you the blunt version and see if another version paves the way. So, the blunt version is that the world is a complex place. This is not blunt, but the world is a complex place, and you are learning to see the unity and diversity. You're learning to see that everybody is a different individual, and you're learning to appreciate and be open-minded and to be curious and harmonize with the people that you find true for you, that you like, that your soul wishes to harmonize with, but not expecting that they're just going to be exactly like you are. Like, everybody is a different thing. There's this need to control people with this placement. Because there is ones to just control others. It's like, it's my way or the highway, and I'm dominating you. Like, this is about respecting each individual as they are, as a sovereign individual. And seeing and accepting that each individual is different, and they have their own soul path, they have their own likes and their own wants and ambitions, and you can't expect them to be just like you. Okay? You cannot. And the thing I have to say about this is You know, that's really, really all that comes to mind with that tendency. And then, kind of reinforcing the same points, which as a Aries South, I'm very, very resistant to. And as somebody in the Chiron in the first house, very resistant to this. Indifference to how one is seen by others. What does indifference mean? Let's just define indifference. So indifference is lack of sympathy, lack of concern for others, lack of compassion, lack of consideration. You're indifferent to them. You're thinking you're not accepting them for their differences. You know, it's another way of indifferent. But so, not caring about how you are seen by others, basically. Not caring. It is what this means, and I'm just going to tell you, and I'm going to be honest, that when you get into that survival mode, and you, do all these actions out of survival, out of needing to survive, out of needing to protect yourself and think yourself as you have to get in there and get what you want, otherwise you're going to be hurt and something bad's going to happen to you. That's your condition, which I'm going to delve into. Difference to how one is seen. Not caring about, in order to have harmonious relationships, in order to really, really find peace, it is important to consider how your actions impact others. Because if you do a negative action and it hurts others, then you're going to be moving away from relationships. And, this life is not about isolating yourself on an island. Then resistance to compromise. Ooh, wow, I have some strong things to say about this too. And I'm going to talk about compromise. Compromise is not where you're giving up your identity. And there is compromise in relationships. But I'm trying to deliver this in the best way I can, believe me. So if you're not liking the things that I'm telling you right now, this is what it is, and this is what she has written, and these are just the traits of this placement. Okay? So, compromise. Just going to look up, just so that it can spark ideas in me. Compromise in relationships is a process where you are, don't you want relationships? You are not giving up yourself in relationships. You have to get rid of that whole notion that you are giving up your identity when compromising. That is unhealthy compromising. That is not compromising. That is not what compromising means. Like when people say, I'm not going to compromise my viewpoints, and that's like they're saying, I'm not going to give up my identity. Like, you're not giving up your identity. You're just finding a way where your identity can be compatible with another's identity. Okay? That's what you're doing. Like in order to have a relationship, you have to have your identity and the other. Like, you and relationship make up this, you are part of it, and then the other is the other part of it. So you're being yourself and the other being is themselves, but if each other goes on its own way and doesn't connect and doesn't come together and bond, then there's no compromise, and then they're just going in their own directions and not coming together and bonding and forming a harmonious relationship. So that's why compromise is so important. Where partners adjust preferences, as it says, finding common ground, basically. And with compromise, both partners feel equally cared for. Wait, okay. Compromise is not just saying, oh, you're bad and your identity is all wrong and, whatever. And I feel like I'm getting this from this book and these tendencies, like Gianna's kind of cutting off yourself and your identity, and you're here to be your true self, but not get caught in the ego expression of that. So, with this placement in particular, you have got to bring in the positives of that Aries South Node. Because this is making me mad, okay? This is what gets me mad and passionate and fired up. So, both partners feel respected, both partners feel valued. You feel, when you make a compromise, if you were not to compromise, and, do your own thing without coming together with another, then, that's going to be difficult. I mean, that's the best way I can explain it, So I hope that you're getting this message here. Ensuring that both partners feel equally valued is what it says here. Is valued. You can be in your identity, and they can be in their identity. You're not people pleasing. Don't worry about that. You're not being codependent. You are, like this, this whole conditioning around Libra energy and relationship and all this thing is just, we have to change it and we have to refine it. We have to make it more compassionate. So, because there is nuance to this, a nuance to Libra energy, a nuance to Aries energy, and nuance to this Aries Libra polarity, a nuance to this placement. So, it's a 50-50 deal. It's like meeting you halfway. In a way where you are being fully yourself and they're being themselves, but in a way where you can form a harmonious relationship with that. So that is what it is. Rather than, oh wow, this is big. With compromise, you are not sacrificing your values. Okay, you are being true to yourself when you compromise. True to yourself when you compromise. You're not giving up your values and whatever. Okay, that's what I want to say. A team effort, focus on empathy. Often in compromises, there is a fair amount of communication where, you're learning the value of healthy communication relationships. Like, in order to have a successful relationship, you need to have healthy communication with communicating honestly. Like, okay, this is how I feel. Okay, listening to the other person. Listening to the other person. How do they feel? Both. Like don't be in relationships with the person just forces you and conditions you peace and harmony and cuts off your identity because they are not right for you. Anyone who conditions you into this, not right for you. I'm just going to make that very, very clear. Be with those who respect you for who you are. If someone's going to be truly harmonious and balanced, they're not going to be preaching and they're not going to be judgmental, whatever. They're going to respect you for who you are. So it's about respecting the other person for who they are, not trying to control and alter them around to how you want them to be. Going back to that tendency on, indifference, expecting others to be like oneself. You see how these are interlinked here. So with compromise, there is communication. And with compromise, there is, I'm going to talk about this, we before me. Very, very big. We before me is this placement. So, anyway, that's that tendency. So I talked about that. Outbursts of anger is another tendency. I'm just going to kind of briefly mention it. Outbursts of anger. Aries can get very much in a rage, angry, and I'm not going to go into the whole, philosophy of this, of why you do get angry, but, well, I'm actually going to get into why you do get angry and why there's a reason for this, and I'm going to save it. You want to watch till the end of this video, because that's when it really, really gets deep. Okay, so wait till the end, and you'll really, really be, into it, I think. There's a reason why you get angry, and we want to honor that reason, and we want to respect that reason. So I'll talk about that later. And then over-concern with survival. Over-concern with needing to just survive and get by. Like Aries, this is so sad. You're constantly needing to survive. Like there's this constant feeling of insecurity about yourself. That's why self-love is so important. That's why self-worth is so important. You are worthy without needing to protect yourself and fight for what you want. You don't have to fight and be in your ego and fight for what you want. Like you can choose a peaceful, more harmonious life. And that is not, you are not secure in yourself if you are operating from your ego and if you're selfish and if you're all this. Okay, self-love, again, is very, very healthy for someone with displacement. Incredibly healthy. In fact, I should find the line where she says this. I'm not going to and read it for you, because I looked at that and it was like, oh, no, you are wrong and you are not clear about that. So, I do think that, there are some things in this book that kind of, are forcing and preaching and lacking that nuance and that depth and that compassion that she does right, that I do have to also say that I don't care for about this book. And that also goes with not just talking about the positive sides of the South Node, the gifts of the South Node, and just focusing on here are the shadows. Like, it's both and. So, over concern with survival, basically, I'm trying to, this mindset of like, my survival is more important than your survival. Well, your survival doesn't matter. Like when you're surviving, wolves are not empathetic. Tigers are not empathetic. That what they do is they kill other animals. And they're against each other. They don't harmonize. And they don't... Like, when you're trying to survive, you are not... Oh, let me harmonize with this... With this creature. Let me get to know this creature. I want to be kind. I don't want to hurt this creature. No, when you're surviving, you want to... get in there and kill and consume, because you're trying to live, you're trying to survive, you're trying to, you're trying to protect yourself, and, so that you can, survive, basically. So that is not what this life is set up for. And you can take a nice deep breath on that fact. Breathe. You do not have to fight to survive this life. You do not have to fight to survive. Like you can relax. You can just relax and enjoy the beauty of life and enjoy relationships and enjoy all of these things. That's the Libra North Node. It's like you don't have to always fight and survive and do all of this. So this over-concern with survival and taking down others, like this comes from this very, very insecure, scared place that if you don't, fight for your needs or whatever, then you're going to get hurt. That others are going to hurt you. Because, it's like, kill or be killed. So, it's that kind of thing. Not this lifetime. And in fact, that is not how life is set up. I'm just going to say that. That's not how your life is set up. I don't think that's how life is set up like that. I mean, I don't have this placement, and I don't have that experience. But you come in with that emotional feeling of like, oh, I've got to survive. So anyway. Attributes to develop the Libra North Node side. Cooperation is the first attribute to develop. With cooperation, okay. There's a lot of things I want to discuss with you, and not just list these things, but actually go into them. You know, I used to just list things and just give like the, you know, things that you need to know. I don't do that anymore on these videos. So anyway, cooperation is, you know, here's the thing with cooperation. I think that she wasn't clear about this. Just imagine you can do what you want to do in this life. Okay. You can do what you want to do in this life. So you don't have to worry about sacrificing that or ignoring that. Okay. What was that sound? Never mind, I thought I heard someone talking. What is the goal that the both of you want to achieve? That's true for you and true for the other person. Like, what do you share in common? This is what she's not covering. It's not just, oh, I'm just getting along and, you know, going along to get along. Like, is this really about just going along to get along? Is this really what this North is about? It's very, very shallow, very, very superficial. I don't think that that's right, okay? Coming together to achieve a common goal. Mutual. It is mutual. You are, you know, understanding each other. You are respecting each other. You are caring for one another. Well, you're respecting the other and they're respecting you for who you are. Like, cooperate with the people that are right for you, okay? You don't have to cooperate with these people that are, you know, preachy and judgmental and not harmonious. And so, oh, you have to harmonize with them, and who just preach all these things, and yet they don't accept you for who you are because they constantly judge you for being selfish, for being, you know, self-centered, for being impulsive, for being angry. Those are not your people, and you do not have to live that reality. You do not have to live that lifetime. So, okay. So, yeah, it is giving very, very attractive human things in this AI writing, which I'm reading this and I'm like, wow, that's so attractive to think about. And with cooperation, it kind of overlaps with compromise that I discussed. Strong communication. So I'm going to look up cooperation in relationships and see what it says. Definition. Cooperation in relationships is, going along with what I just said, working toward common goals, mutual respect, you know, getting away from selfish to, you know, coming together with another and doing a goal that's true for you and for the other person. You know, it is both and. It's not either or. It's not you or the other. It's both. So, yeah, that's what I want to cover with that. So that's the first thing. Diplomacy and tact. It's very likely that you were conditioned by people that were not very peaceful. Like the teacher that I had did not have a lot of tact. Okay? And she was not very diplomatic because she yelled and went on rampages and was like angry angry, a bull, like a freight train coming at you, as I discussed in that video. Like, she was not very diplomatic. If she was, she wouldn't be all firm and whatever. Okay? So, this does make me mad to think about this, you know. And so, you know, I do want to just say to you, there is this, you know, you'll find a lot of benefit when you can, you know, like, diplomacy builds bridges. You know, diplomacy and tact, being tactful, being kind to another, and often when you feel like you need to survive, you're caught in the survival, you are not tactful, or lions tactful when they hunt down animals, or wolves tactful, or birds tactful, like, you know, eagles who hunt down others. I don't think so, because they're trying to survive. And animals are not like humans. They don't have minds and consciousness like we do. Like, you know, so, you know, you are not diplomatic and not peaceful because of this habit pattern that you go back to, like, I've got to survive. Otherwise, I'm gonna get hurt. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be okay if I don't defend myself and I'm not aggressive and I'm not, you know, like, it's about being secure within yourself. And when you are secure within yourself, when you respect yourself, then you can respect others and form harmonious relationships. I just think that this lesson that she taught was so resonant for this placement. If only she embodied that lesson and was an example of that lesson, she was not. It was total, you know, hypocrisy, total irony. And that's what I have to say about that. Because if you respect yourself, you will not yell, be angry. You will know how to manage your anger. You will not, you know, use it in selfish, you know, ways. And she didn't really respect herself that much. You know, she didn't practice what she preached. She wasn't true to her word. And that was the reality of it. So, so it's about, diplomacy is about harmony, first of all, like maintaining relationship harmony. It's about trust and connection. And diplomacy involves empathy, like tact is involved with this. Empathy, respectful communication. It involves not getting caught in your biases, in your feelings, your, you know, resentment or your criticism, and just choosing to see things as they are, choosing to see the other person for who they are, not just judging them, and, you know, doing all this. You know, mutual understanding. Like I talked about this with Sagittarius South Node, like not having the self-righteous tendency, like you are right and they are wrong. Like respecting both people's position and perspective. Yeah. And then not avoiding conflict, not brushing it under the rug, but having a conversation about it instead of fighting, where you are assertively saying, this is what I feel and this is what we need to address in the relationship and this is the issue. You're not fighting, because if you're fighting, then you're in a battle, you're not understanding each other, and you're not understand, you know, that's not diplomacy intact. When you're cutting off somebody's identity in the relationship, that is not a diplomatic and tactful relationship. That is not the right relationship. So, you know, so that is what I want to say with diplomacy and tact. And then awareness of the needs of others. Getting out of the survival mentality and being aware of others' needs. And it can be very, very healing for you to do this in your own way that you can discover for yourself, like being aware that others have needs and others, other people have these needs that need to get met as well, and your needs are very, very valid. Theirs are as well. So a relationship where your needs are getting met and their needs are getting met. It's like it's adding an extension to yourself. Like, you're not all alone with yourself and your identity, because Aries is not meant to go at life alone, because life is a relationship, and all meant to be together. Like, that's what you're learning. Like, life is about relationship, and a huge part of it is about others. And so in relationship, you're here to form mutual relationships this life. Okay, underline that, mutual relationships. So, becoming aware of others' needs, bringing awareness to others' needs, being cognizant and conscious that others have needs, and giving and taking. Not people-pleasing, and not just sacrificing yourself and just giving, and, no, that's not what it is. That's the shadow of Libra. You're aiming towards the lighter side of Libra, which is evolved through Aries, which is I am aware of the other's needs and I am honoring the needs in addition to my own, not instead of my own, in addition to my own needs. And then, okay, the next one. Wow, this is a hard one. Giving without expecting anything in return. Redefining fairness, I just want to say. Like, I was reading in this, like, doing something that is fair for both people, not just for you. That kind of thing. Like you're in this kind of mentality here. And if you have a lot of Aries in your chart, and you have a South Node in Aries, then you're here to heal the South Node shadow, and you're really, really here to focus on the self and self-love, and you're here to redefine security and being your identity. You're here to heal the shadows of that and be more true to yourself. Like, we think it's just, it's about relationship. It really is about being more true to yourself in a way that is not egoic, being true to your soul and not your ego, as I said before. So, giving without respecting, giving support without respecting anything in return. Just giving. Out of having this expectation, like I need something because I'm giving. This is not easy. This is not easy, and I don't blame you if you hear this and you're like, no, I'm not doing it. And like, I don't blame you, because we all want something in return. We all want to help others and get something in return. Do not put yourself in relationships where there's not give and take. Put yourself in relationships where that person is going to give back, and you just don't have high expectations over how much they should give back to you, what specifically they should give back to you. That's all ego stuff. Being in relationships with a partner does give back to you. But you're not like bossing them around and like, and where's my whatever, and you're being bossy and pestering them and all this, like all low stuff. Okay, be with others who will give back to you. And trust that you will get something back without always having to feel like, oh, I have to make sure that the other person is going to get back to me, and I have to boss them around, and I have to be egoic because I don't feel secure that I'm going to get anything back, because I don't feel secure about relationships, because I don't feel like they're going to respect me, I don't feel like they're going to give anything back to me. Relax. I think you're going to find that if you're in the right relationship, you're going to get something back. Just release the need to always try to, be in control of that. Like, trust that you're going to get something back, and release the egoic need of getting something back. In relationships where you're going to get something back with the other person is mutually respecting who you are. Reciprocity. Things are reciprocal. And I'm going to look up reciprocity here. Okay. So it's the mutual exchange of love, support, and effort. Essential for building trust and stability. So mutual relationships. Creating win-win situations. This is also Aquarius North Node. And I think that Aquarius North Node and your Libra North Node can really, really bond very, very well. I think that you have a similar mission in this life. So great, yeah, creating situations that can work for the other. That's a huge part of this as well. And yourself, okay? Creating situations that work both for you and the other. It's both. And it's not just you're sacrificing yourself and just focusing on the other. No. That's not not the reality of this placement. It's not the reality of this placement. Sharing is another attribute. I think with this one, I think with this attribute to develop, really, really is, very much about just, what do I want to say about this attribute? Well, sharing can be very, very particular. Because you're sharing your resources, you're not, because when you're in the survival energy, it's always, oh, I have to protect this. Oh, it's mine. I can't share with this. Like, Libra North Node. You can share. You don't have to keep everything to yourself out of fear that you're going to lose it. I think that's past lifetimes. Like, you had to keep things to yourself because you're afraid you're going to lose it. You can share these things in this lifetime. It's okay to share. So, share. This is about sharing the things. Seeing things through another's eyes. Seeing things through another's perspective. Another's vantage point is, what this can be. But this is already very, very long. I had no intentions. This should be like, 45 minutes already, and it's like an hour in. Oh, crazy how time flies. Seeing things through another's eyes. Being willing to see another's perspective of things. Like, your window to the only world. Your window to the world is not the only window. Like, it's about humility, curiosity, and seeing things through another's perspective. And understanding their perspective. Understanding where they're coming from. They're understanding where you're coming from, you're understanding where they're coming from. It's kind of that way. Then, oh my gosh. This spells it out. Communicating what you want, what you need, assertively to the partner. Communicating self-identity. Like, I agree with this. Relationships are about communication. It's not about, oh, do you mind if? Oh, can I do this? Oh. No, it's just you're communicating who you are and your values, and you're working out a solution with the partner. You know, again. So, that's been long enough. We're about to go even deeper into this. Somebody with a South Node in Aries and North Node in Libra is a very fiery individual. Very, very used to being independent. Like they come in with a strong sense. They come in with a strong sense of identity, and they're very, very independent people. They're incredibly independent. Very much, very familiar with going their own way, living their own life. That's who they are. Not familiar with relationship. Acting before thinking. Like Aries acts before it thinks of the consequences of his actions. Very impulsive. Now you're familiar with the competitive energy. Like Aries South Node is a very, very competitive energy. Very, very competitive. Very competitive indeed. Where you are a wolf or a shark. As a shark, you kill other fish because you need to survive. You have to be a shark. You have to get your own way, or else you'll be threatened. By that thing that you're trying. That thing is trying to kill you. So you have to try to kill it. Oh, wow. Okay. So you're trying to aggressively fight this thing because it's either you're going to be, killed by this or hurt by this thing, or you're going to hurt. So yeah, okay. Boom, now I get this. Okay. So this is what needs to be released. This whole mindset and, thing is what needs to be released. This life. Living a life with others. I think that goes to say collaboration, like collaborating, not going into the realms of your ego. That's what it's about. I've already discussed harmonious relationships that feel true for you. Those are the relationships that you are meant to form. Relationships that are actually Libran relationships that honor who you are. Like Libra will harmonize with you. Libra will not judge and criticize and, do whatever. They will respect you for who you are. And it's about also respecting them equally. Like forming that mutual bond. And you can do that when you can get out of the ego survival mentality. You're here to make peace, not war. And I could easily title this video that, but I think that there's a deeper title that I want to title this video. I think I titled my video about that on my original channel that I filmed back in the summer of 2023. So you're so familiar with war. You're here to choose peace this life. Just relax. You don't need to fight. Just surrender. Surrender. Like it's okay. You don't have to fight this life. Just be. Like, you don't have to fight in order to survive. You're good. The other person's good. They're not trying to hurt you. They're not trying to do all this. Like, you can harmonize. Like, you can get together with others. You can connect this life. Like, it's okay. So, And then, so you're familiar with being alone, and you're familiar with the energy of independence. The feeling of being in relationships is really, really unfamiliar. Like you're so familiar with being, on your own that you're not familiar with, relationships. Now, your South Node can represent your younger years in astrology. In your younger years, oh wow, they might have been, not saying that they were, because this is not everybody's reality, don't want to make false assumptions, but in general, your childhood could have been very, very harsh. Very harsh. As I was reading, came across the detail when it said harsh childhood. Disciplinarian, conditioning, criticism, judgment, punishment, hurting, mean. Is this harmonious? Is this tactful? Is this kind? Is this respecting you for your identity and allowing you to be your authentic self? No, it isn't. No, it isn't. It's shame. It flies in the face of good and human decency and human kindness and consideration. This is what it is. And I'm so sorry that you had to go through this. I'm so sorry that you had to go through this very, very tough childhood. No wonder you're, get into this mindset, because it doesn't just come out of nothing. Perfectly innocent being, and all this judgment, and all this shame, and all this punishment. Well, I'm so sorry that you had to go through all that. You don't have to live in that energy. You do not have to live in that energy anymore. You can put that behind you. And if you're in it, you can choose to move away from it. You can choose to actively say, you know what? This is not right for me. I'm getting criticized, I'm getting judged. And if the person understands you, you can move away from them and find people that do understand who you are. Who do get you. Who do respect you for who you are. Don't say, oh, you can't do it because of the situation. Nope. Hard truth. Hard truth. Don't want to hear it. So instead of kindness and understanding, basically, instead of getting kindness and love, like this life is about leaning to the energy of love. The person who had this Libra North Node call out Bill and Reed, her work is spirituality. And she said a song, Love is the Only Answer. Yes, love is the only answer. And you're here to lean into the energy of love. Like, don't you want to be loved? And don't you believe in loving others? And don't you want to love others for who they are? And I think a part of you does want to do this. Instead of, so kindness and understanding. That's not probably what you received when you were a child. But now you can live a different life. Now you're free from that. Now that you can, live a different life. So there's this need here to be first. This need to win all the time. This need to be, the first one. The first one at the race. Like with Aries, it's a me first thing. Like I've got to be first. I've got to be the best. And this comes from, you have to understand, a mentality that you are not good enough. Self-love is so important. I keep bringing that up over and over again. Jen Spiller was wrong. Like self-love. If you don't feel secure in yourself, you're always going to try to take others down. You're always going to try to take others down with fighting and battle and wanting to win. You don't have to win. This life is not about winning. You don't have to win. Like, this life is about everyone's a winner. Everybody's a winner. Everyone is equal. Everyone, like, making things fair for everybody. Like, making things harmonious for everyone. Like, you know, like, your needs are, you know, important, like others' needs are important, and you know, winning, fighting, and, you know, competing, that is, what you're in the shadow side of. You know, but you don't have to win and fight. Because it's not, like in relationships, if you're to form harmonious relationships, you don't win and try to win in this and fight in those relationships. Like, that's not what a relationship is. It's a mutual bond. If you're trying to win, then that's not a mutual relationship. And if you're in a relationship where you feel like, oh, you have to win, not the right relationship for you. Get out of that relationship. I just want to write that in this video and just underline it for you. So being in tandem with another, being in tandem, being together with another, imagine what you can do with it. Well, imagine the possibilities. You can live a life with your own needs, wants, and desires, but imagine what you can do when you come together and collaborate. You know, imagine what you can do when you can come together and form a bond where you have your own needs and desires and they're adding to it. They're not taking away from you, they're just adding to it. Like, I have these things, but hey, what about these ideas? What about these, desires? Like, I'm going to talk about this with Scorpio North Node. Scorpio North Node is about, like, making, working smarter and harder and being open to new solutions to things. So that's part of it. So I'm going to talk about that with them, hopefully when I get there, maybe tomorrow, or, sometime. I'm thinking tomorrow. But, imagine what you can do with another. Imagine the possibilities when you can come together and the other can come together, just like that. Now, give and take, compromise, I've already talked about that. You're not giving up your identity when you're compromising. You're just finding a happy medium with what you and what others want. That's what a compromise is. You're meeting in the middle. You're respecting each other and you're meeting in the middle in a way where the relationship is harmonious. So not being selfish, it's very, very clear. Relationships where you and another can care for one another. Stability and trust and open communication. This book was written back in 1997. I think it was published in 1997. Guess what? The world has changed since then. We have evolved a little bit since then. We're more nuanced than we used to be about astrology. There are some astrologers that are kind of caught in the old ways of nuance, and I wouldn't put Jan Spiller too much into this category, but I would kind of put her in this category a little bit, because if she's making these kind of statements about Aries and basically saying, oh, you're so selfish, and you're so, whatever, and you're such a bad person, whatever, gosh, you know what you're doing? Is you're reinforcing the South Node in Aries. You're reinforcing exactly what the shadows of the South Node in Aries is by making these statements to this placement. Like, do you realize what you've done, and you realize what you're doing? Like, you have to have awareness to say, oh, I realize that I'm doing this. So I just find that so interesting. Okay. So you're not giving, yes. So, stability and trust in relationships and open communication. How is what I'm doing benefiting others? Compassionate prosperity. This is something that Colette talks about. Is what I'm doing benefiting others and helping others in a healthy way, or is it not? Like, you can do your own thing, and you can do whatever feels true for you to do, but again, if you follow your soul, you will not hurt. If you follow what's true for you, you won't hurt others. But if you just go with your ego impulses, your ego things, well, if you act on the destructive side of that, then this may be the result, is that you're not benefiting others. So how is it what I'm saying and doing impacting others around me? So committed relationships, marriage, like you may be very, very open to the idea of marriage or not. And I'm going to get into the reason why you may not be open to relationships at the very end of this video. So tune in. It's coming. But just wait a second. I have to get through all the more obvious information before I get to the deep, really, really deep, look at this. So just wait. We're eating the meal. The dessert is soon to come. The best part of the meal is soon to come. So, commitment. So, we before me. Again, we before me. Your kind of selfish, desires, egoic desires. Again, you have your desires, they have your desires. We collaboration before just me. And so, So the people would have this placement that are very, very fiery and very, I don't want to tame down that fire that you have inside your belly. I don't want to tame that down. I don't want to tame that down. Because you're so fiery and you're so confident in yourself and you want to, and you're so proud of yourself and you're so true to your identity, that's great. Many, many people would be so envious of that quality that you have, that you're so strong with your identity. It's about feeling secure in that identity, not insecure. Because when you're insecure, you're selfish. You're egoic. Like, this is what it's about. Like, I'm envious of you if you are secure in your identity. I'm not envious of you if you are not secure in that identity. So, I'm not envious of the insecure people in the world. Nope. No. So, find a partner that is right for you, as I've already said. Committed relationships, being in committed relationships, especially committed relationships, being in relationships with those that are peaceful and fair. And not only this, but in a way where they are respecting you with who you are and honoring your identity. And you are honoring their identity. You don't have to do, everything on your own. You can share your life with another. Well, you do not have to go at this life alone. You can share it. You can have relationships. Like, you don't have to be alone. You don't have to do everything on your own. Do everything, in this kind of, way where, I'm the only person that has to do it. Nobody else can help me. Like, sad. You don't have to live like that. So there may be a strong resistance here to teamwork, to group work. Now, with these qualities, you may find that your impatience and impulsiveness, may get the better of you. I'm just going to say that. I don't want to sound harsh or mean or preachy. I'm just saying that, and I hope it didn't come off that way. Makes it hard to collaborate. I don't want to clarify the same points I've been making over and over again. But it's about releasing and taming this need for this impatience and impulsiveness and getting out of the impulsive qualities. So, what I may say later may just very well contradict what I just said now. So, now, good qualities with the South Node in Aries, which need to be acknowledged, is that you're very, very good at what you're doing. You're very proud of what you do. And Aries loves a challenge. Aries loves to take on new challenges and, test itself and push itself, and it loves to take risks. It's a bold, risk-taking energy. And so these are good qualities that you don't want to just discard. Relationships are the challenge. Your North Node is what feels unfamiliar to you. Your North Node is what you're heading towards. What you're leaning towards, what you're balancing out. How to heal your South Node. So, because that just is the easy way to do it, and the, most kind of practical way to do it is you have to kind of lean into the other sign to sort of, because if you're so familiar with the shadows of one sign, look to the opposite sign to get into the positives of whatever sign that the South Node is in. So, relationships may be very, very uncomfortable. You may feel very kind of uncomfortable and kind of uneasy about relationships. Just going to cover that right now. Approaching this challenge, and also approaching the challenges that you have in your life, like living your life with others, like sharing your life with another. Who are you going to share your life with? You don't have to go it alone. Like you're meant to share your life with another. Like we are meant to be together with another. We are meant to be in a relationship. We're not meant to be completely alone, because no one is completely alone. No one is completely an island. There are others in our life. So you might as well share life with them. Like you're meant to share life with them. And it's going to feel so fulfilling to you to do this. So you may be so familiar in the area of battle that you project this, and one of the things is compromises. So, and also, as you grow into your older years, you lean into your North Node more. So you'll find that as you grow into your older years, then you will, what I am finding, I'm really, really moving into my North Node. I am pretty evolved in that already, and guess how I'll be evolved by age 41. I think I'll be very, very much in my North Node energy at that point. You could be, and you could be very, very advanced as a Libra North Node. You're still who you are, and you're still an Aries South Node. Like, you still come in with that. It's not about cutting that part of you off, like having compassion for that part of you, and honoring and acknowledging the other part of you. Because that's how you move into your North Node. Like, we're meant to acknowledge it, like you're meant to integrate these notes. You're meant to bring together these notes. You're not meant to just separate it. You're meant to bring together and harmonize between the South Node and the North Node. Harmonizing is a huge lesson with this placement, and it's a huge thing that they can benefit from. So diplomatic and cooperative, I've already covered that. Also, just to kind of throw in here that Libra is also very, very creative. So with beauty and with relationships come beauty, and when you're fighting and when you're in the battle, you're so focused on survival that you're ignoring all the beauty in your life. You're ignoring all the pleasant, the pleasant things and the good side of life. Well, you're meant to look at the positive side of life and the good sides of everyone. Like, you're meant to see the good inside of everyone, and you're meant to see the beauty in life and the beauty in everyone, because Libra sees the beauty in everyone. Like, you're meant to bring awareness to that. Now, as I was reading, I was reading that apparently for the people that have this placement, think back to 2020, how hard that was. That was a tough period because we were isolated from connecting with others. And this North Node is about connections. And so you may have felt very, very lonely during that period. It's hard for you to be alone. Okay, this is where we're getting deep. It's hard for you to be alone. Well, you're very, very... You're also... okay. You don't want to be alone. And it's hard for you to be alone. You're so independent because you're so used to it because, but it's hard for you. Deep down, you do not want to be alone. And you get this feeling like, I'm all alone in the world. There's nobody to harmonize with. There's nobody that can take care of me. There's nobody to love me. Like, I am not worthy of love from others. This unworthiness thing. And this is part of worthiness. Worthy of being loved by others. Relationships and connections to relationships is part of worthiness. Self-love. Self-love. So, that's what it is. So, I don't think that Jan was very clear when she made that statement. It's hard for you to be, like she said, they should avoid self-love this lifetime. I'm like, no, they shouldn't, nor should anyone, really. So it's hard for you to, be alone. Feel alone. You have been conditioned into loneliness until it has become your reality. Until you have lived out loneliness as your reality. This is your conditioning. Your conditioning that the only way to get by in the world is you're all alone. You have to go through this life alone. You can't connect with anyone. You can't harmonize. People are bad. People are mean. They're going to hurt you. They're going to judge you. They're out to get you. Like the training the psychological training that everybody's out to get you. How are you supposed to harmonize and form diplomatic relationships if you have this conditioning built into you about this negative thing with people? I do not like it when others in my life talk about people in a negative light. Black and white thinking. Very black and white. And it's not compassionate. Like people... Well, yes, there are bad or mean people in the world, but we're all good. We all have good hearts. We all have good inside us. We're all kind. Sometimes we don't use our kindness. Sometimes we don't use our, love for the best of purposes. But this is, what it can come down to with this. So, you can connect with others. You can connect with others in your life. You don't have to go life all alone. Like, you can connect. By all means, you can connect. So, we're not meant to be lonely. We're not meant to be lonely. We're meant to be social creatures. We're meant to be social creatures. We are social creatures. We need each other. We need each other. We need love, kindness, sharing, consideration. We need it. So, we don't want to deny ourselves relationship. Get out of this conditioning. If you're conditioned, and it's about healing these wounds and healing this conditioning. And if you're one of the ones that has, was born in the 1990s and has Chiron in Libra, You're here to heal wounds around relationship. You're here to heal those wounds. So that just adds more layer and just amplifies it even more. So I just find that so interesting. That's what this astrologer was saying in her reading. So okay, so we're not meant to be. Sorry, I already just covered that. You depended on yourselves as a survivor skill. As I think I covered this before, you had to survive and you had to go it alone, basically. Now, when you are not connected with others in your life, you get angry. There's this anger that comes in. It is very, very strong anger. Because you just want connection so bad, you're angry that you get criticized, that you get judged, that you get punished, that you get put down, that others don't respect who you are. And then you don't want to form a relationship. Like, it's natural. If you get hurt by others and judged, I think that you would want to form relationships. And you'd be angry at them. And you would be resistant to relationships. But then you would be angry at not forming relationships. It's like this burning fire of you want relationships, but I think it's deeper to say you get angry at those who criticize you and judge you. And to those who train you that, you can't form harmonious relationships. Those are not your people. Those are not your people. So connection must be protected. This whole thing about something valuable here about a mutual love. Where you are, protecting the relationship because you're building that bond. You're meant to build a deep bond with another. Like Northern Scorpio is meant to deeply connect with another. And you're also meant to deeply connect with another. Are you meant to band together? When relationship, like Romeo and Juliet, they were told that they couldn't be together. The two families were fighting, they were competing, they were at war with each other, and this whole tragedy saga happens. It's not this romanticized happy ending, and where there's fireworks and sunshine and rainbows at the end of all. Like there's death in it. There's all the stuff in it that we have to acknowledge with that particular story. And when you're told that you can't be in relationship with somebody, don't you want to be with that person even more? Like when you're told that you can't have something, don't you want it even more? Like it's a natural human thing. So, when you're told that you can bond in a relationship with this person, then that actually strengthens the relationship and not breaks it up. And that's a good thing that you're getting this, like the silver lining this. Because then you want to form a closer relationship with the other, like you were trained. You can't be in relationship with these people. Or maybe you were told you have to be in relationship with this person. You can't be in relationship with who you authentically want to. And this person may not be right for you. Like you get to choose the relationships that you want in your life. And anyone who chooses it for you, that's not right for you. Like others choose a relationship for you that, it's not right. Those are not your people. I would not involve yourself with anyone who tries to control who you want to be in relationship with. So, relationship when a relationship is challenged, that's a good thing because you can actually come together more. So, this astrologer talked about, wrote about gender with the Aries Libra polarity of the nodes. And she said that boys are supposed to be, which is Aries South Node, like boys are active, loud, meant to be very, very masculine. And Libra is supposed to be harmonious, supposed to be calm, and supposed to be beautiful. And all these kind of things like that. So, where you'll find also that when you form relationships, it will help you to feel more secure about yourself. When you form a relationship with somebody who respects you, who understands you, who honors you for who you are, then you'll see like, oh, they respect me, so why don't I respect myself? Why don't I be loving and compassionate to myself? Because I'm in a relationship with somebody that does. Again, self-love. And how you can get self-love is through relationship, because it can help you with self-love. Like, you are meant to love yourself this life. You're not meant to avoid it. You're meant to lean into it in this particular nuanced way with this placement. So, you find yourself through another, you find peace with another. You find peace when you're in a relationship. Well, you'll find that when you put yourself in relationships, you'll be peaceful. You'll feel at peace inside yourself. Like, I am connecting. I am bonding. You are worthy of connection. You are worthy of good, healthy, harmonious connections in this life. Anyone who makes you feel not worthy of that, let it go. Or just let it, accept it, forgive it, move on. Let it be there. And don't choose to live and engage that reality. Like they say, don't give life force to what you don't want to, live. Like just spend your time and energy on those who encourage you, who make you feel worthy of connection. That can often be the people that you are connecting with in those relationships. So anyone who makes you feel worthy of connection is worth your time and energy to connect to. Like determining, you're here to determine who is worth your time and energy and who isn't. So, there is a pride in feeling like no one ever understands you. Just like there is a pride when you kill something in survival. Like, don't you feel proud when you kill something? Oh, look at me, I'm so powerful, I'm so strong because I killed this thing. Woohoo. Like, don't you feel good and so strong when you kill somebody, or excuse me, not kill, of course you wouldn't feel good about that, but what, an animal, picture that you're an animal and you kill another animal, like you're a wolf or you're a tiger. Don't you feel prideful about that? Because you've survived. And you feel good because you've survived, because of that reality that you're living in, of survival. That survival mentality. Feeling good, and you only feel secure with yourself if you have fought and you have been dominated. Deep down, you don't want to be like this. I don't think that you want to be like this. I think that you want to be egoic and, battle. Like, I think that you have much better heart than to be that way. Like, because, you feel good that you, when you survived, like feeling secure only if you survive. Because, another thing is, you're conditioned like life is divisive, and life is a zero-sum game. And it's, I win, you lose. Well, you think that Jen Spiller is very, very in-depth, but she's very preachy. Not very nuanced, with having more compassion for these people and why they have the shadows that they have. She just says, oh, these are your shadows, and this is what they mean, and oh, these are bad, you have to release them, and, whatever. No, it's like, why do you have the shadows that you have? Like, you're having compassion for these shadows. Hold, like, understanding why you do what you do, so that you can have compassion for yourself. Like, it's not just denying it, it's integrating and just having self-love. And part of self-love is like shadow work. It's part of self-love. And it's just kind of saying, oh, these shadows are bad and you should just completely move away from them and da-da-da-da-da. Like, that's not what no. You're meant, shadow work is where you're meant to take your shadows and you're meant to heal them and work through them and face them and integrate them and do all of that. You're not meant to be, oh, they're all bad and I should just completely put them aside and just move to something else. Well, you can't do that unless you integrate and unless you accept what your shadows are. Like, that's just part of what it is. So, anyway, you feel good, when you've survived, like, I win, you lose, is basically what I was coming back to saying. So, this mentality of, like, you have to win, and the other person has to lose in order for you to feel good about yourself, in order for you to feel secure about yourself. Somebody else has to lose, and you have to take somebody down to feel secure about yourself. No, you don't have to do that. And if Jen Spiller, like, had compassion, like, in the book, like, saying, these people feel like, this one astrologer that I was reading had compassion for these people, and yet this author who writes these books just doesn't have that kind of compassion enough to write why they feel what they do, and they feel like this, they feel like that, and why, and how can they heal through this? Like I just don't feel like this, astrologer who writes this, is very much like that. I mean, she is very, very good and very knowledgeable, and I'm amazed how she got all this information. But, there are some lacking areas with this that I do find very, very, critical with this book. That I do have to comment on, that this particular chapter is really bringing to my awareness. Not all the chapters, but I think this one in particular is really, So anyway, you expect to lose. You expect to lose. Your job, relationship, everything. What's the point if I'm not going to feel secure in myself? What's the point? I might as well not just do it at all, because I'm going to lose. I'm not going to succeed. I'm going to fail. I'm not going to form harmonious relationships. What's the point of forming harmonious relationships if I'm going to lose? Well, like, this is the mindset that you get yourself into. I don't think that you'll find this in Jen Spiller's book. I don't think that you'll find this approach. Like, I can see a definite difference in writing from her writing to this other astrologer that I read articles from her, and she writes in a way where it's more compassionate. And she hasn't written a whole book that's been a bestseller and whatever. It's like, are we meant to know the hard truths and just have to just live a different way and have to, turn around and, change ourselves and work on ourselves? When we work on ourselves, it is about being compassionate with ourselves. When we say work on ourselves, we're like being hard on ourselves. We're working so hard that we're not loving to ourselves. Gosh, wow. So expecting to, lose, everything. it's about releasing this mindset. They'd rather just not engage in it at all, and then to avoid losing. Like, they don't want to risk losing, so they just don't do it at all. So if they don't care about anyone in their lives, if they think, well, if I care, then I might lose. So you know what? I'm just so afraid of caring. So I'm not going to care. Like I so want to care, but I just am so afraid because I feel like I'm going to feel unworthy, and I'm going to feel like I can't connect, and so you put yourself into like, I don't care. Well, you just have this mentality like, I don't care. It's not like a selfish thing. It's like it's out of feeling like a victim and unworthiness thing. It's not ego, it's unworthiness. So going back to that thing about not caring about the other and self-centeredness, this is the point that I'm making, is that it's an unworthiness thing, and you're here to love yourself and work on your own self-worth this life. So, learn to release this mindset. You'd rather just not engage in it at all, just avoid losing. That's kind of your defeatist attitude that you have. If you don't care about, anyone in your lives, then you don't run the risk of loneliness. If you have the attitude like, I don't care, then it's safe. Then you're safe. And like, you don't have to be this way. You don't have to avoid it. Just like I was talking about my TikTok live streams, and my family was saying, you can just ban block people. You don't have to avoid going live on this platform because you're afraid of others are going to say. And I was like saying on this video that I would just do this, like just to play it safe, to not engage in the drama. And when she said that, I was like, you know what? That is a thought. That is worth considering. That's a very, very good point to make. So, it's like, it's, not just avoiding relationships entirely just because you just want to play it safe, because you feel an unworthiness to that, by not relying on anyone else. Feeling like you can't count on anybody else, you can't rely on anyone else, you only have to do it on your own. Like, this is, I think, the mindset that you have, and this is a sad state of affairs. And so you're taught to feel that loneliness is a thing that will just stay. It'll be forever. It's a wound that will never heal. It'll never dissipate. It'll never go away. And this is sad. This is sad. That you're taught that loneliness is a constant. Wait, you don't have to live that narrative. You do not have to live that narrative. You can rewrite the story. You can turn your book and write a new page in your story like, I'm worthy in relationships, and these are the relationships that I want to form based off of who I am and my goals, and I want to connect with this person who is this. Like, knowing who you value, being perfect in the partner you choose, being discerning in the partner you choose. I am choosing to be with a partner that is this and not that. I am choosing to be with a partner that is aligned with these values. So, that's my point exactly. So, loneliness is not a thing that will never go away. I mean, you can heal this loneliness, and this is a sad state of affairs that you were taught this. And so, you don't have to be all alone. And I'm going to get into another aspect of this later, but the positive side of loneliness is that through loneliness, when you are sitting with yourself, when you are sitting with yourself all alone, on your own, you get to know yourself better and what you want. You get to know your values. You gain insight on what you like and what you dislike, and you're more contemplative with your thoughts. And the reason why is because you don't have another person that you're connecting to. You're all alone. Time. So this loneliness can actually be a good thing, because it's like, okay, well, now through this loneliness, I'm getting clear on who I want to be in relationship with, who I want to connect with, and why I want to connect with this person. So that's the benefit it can give you. So they feel that they have no control over whether they are accepted. Okay, so another thing is you don't put yourself in groups and with others because you don't feel like you're in control. You feel not powerful. You think Aries is just this powerful, dominating, aggressive sign, but this is saying something different. And this was by an astrologer who also had clients and looked at different clients from different ages and put all these together through her discoveries of getting to know them. So yeah. If Jen Spiller was, I think she's not alive now, but if she was alive, I would want her to see this video. I would want her to see this video in particular because, yeah. So, feeling like you have no control over whether you are, accepted or not. Basically, you don't feel like you have control over if you're accepted or you're not accepted. You feel like others are gonna have the final say, and they're gonna, it's like people are divisive, and you're just hoping and praying for relationships, but it's conditional. It's conditional. And people are going to rule you out if you're not worthy of them. And people are going to judge you and push you out and not include you. So no wonder why you're so resistant to relationship. Huh. Wow. In this movie called Animaltopia, I don't remember the name. It was like this movie about animals that were in this utopia. But the animals were judged. Like, these animals had certain positions and they were not respected for who they were. And in this one scene, this creature put himself into this group of these animals, and the flashlight was shining, and then he said to sworn oath, and then all sworn oath. And then all of a sudden, this it was so scary. It was like I was scared when I saw this, and it scares me to think about this now. The flashlight went out. And then they pushed the animal around and they put tape over his mouth or whatever, and they said, "Did you really think that we were going to let you in? You're just a dumb fox. You're just a dumb, worthless thing." And then pushed him out. Like this is kind of the fear that you get. It's like, this is kind of that feel like others will just push you out. And not feeling a sense of empowerment with this. So you're terrified of rejection. Terrified of being rejected by groups. I think that everybody is, really. You want to be included. You deeply want relationship, and you just feel like you haven't been allowed, and you haven't been given the self-worth, and you don't feel worthiness to give it. So you're working on your self-worth this life when it comes to relationships. So you are terrified of rejection, basically. And you feel that others, you feel like others' actions what others do says something about what you are. You have to understand, they are them. They will do what they will do, and they will say what they will say. Be strong within yourself and choose to be with people that respect who you are. And when other people act, it doesn't say anything about who you are. It says something about who they are and how they feel about you. Okay? It's like, don't take the world so personally. Don't take others so seriously and so personally. I mean, gosh. I hate to, get on Jan Spiller, but it's like, it's this hard thing, and you have to stop being so selfish, and you have to just be diplomatic, and you have to be cooperative, and like, gosh, wow, harsh. So, like, ugh. So, feeling that they will never, like you feel like you're just hopeless. This feeling of like being a hopeless romantic, or feeling like you'll never find anyone that will truly understand you. Feeling like you'll never find anyone who will truly get you, who will truly click with you. Feeling like you'll never find anyone that will truly understand who you are. That there's not going to be a perfect partner. That there's no point in trying in relationships because nobody's going to understand me. Nobody's going to respect me. No one's going to love me. And so, then you refuse to put yourself in relationships. Sad. That's so not true, though. So not true. You may feel afraid of power. Wow. Okay. This is layered. Shannon Spiller says, you're so in your power and you're so destructive with it. That can be true in one level. But you also, honest, ask yourself, do you like this part? Like, really? Do you like this part of yourself that is so powerful? Do you like this part of yourself? Or do you feel like, not being afraid of your own power? When it comes to, you really don't want to be, deep down, you don't want to be powerful, selfish, impulsive, but this is what you know. This is what you were probably conditioned into, so it's like you do what you know, you do what you're conditioned into, but you don't want to be like this. And you don't have to be like this. So you don't have to be this, this powerful, self-harming, creature that just harms others and hurts others and is destructive to others. Like, you don't have to live in this reality. And I think that to understand one aspect of this, to understand the other, is very, very important with this placement. This is why I do the deep dive. So, you yearn for peace. I think that's very, very clear. You yearn for peace. You feel like you have, and you feel like you will harm and others will harm you. You're afraid of harming others. You're afraid of You're afraid of being in a relationship and harming others and hurting others. You're afraid of being in a relationship where they're going to judge you and you're going to harm them. You are afraid of this. It is something that you don't like. Something that you don't want. You're afraid of others putting them, you're afraid of others putting you in a very unimportant, insignificant position in society. Treated as someone who doesn't fit in. The word here is, the word that here that comes in is marginalized. You're treated as someone who just doesn't fit in. Like, wow. This book got so many good reviews, but wow. Is this a more compassionate Libra look at this placement, or what? This, it enlightened me when I read it. Like, okay, well, now I'm not so resistant to this placement anymore. Because I understand it better. And I have compassion for it through that understanding. So treating someone who doesn't fit in, denying their human rights and the right to, you're denied the right to just be by others. You're denied the right by others to just be, who you are. You're denied relationship, basically. These margins are not set in stone. So, you may be very, very, romantic and loyal to others if you feel like others would only open up to you. You would be loyal and loving if only you felt that others would love to you and you were deserving of their love. You were deserving of their love, not shutting down, being like allowing others in, like allowing others in. Like I want to make this the most compassionate reading on the North Node Libra. Like all these other astrologers that tell you, oh, you have to be peaceful, and you have to do all this, including that one that I mentioned at the beginning. I want this video to stick out like a sore thumb for a good reason. I want this to be one of the most enlightening things you've heard on this placement thus far in your life. So, even though it is long, it's, I think it's so worth watching already. So anyway, not shutting down, but being willing to allow others in, being willing to allow other people into your life. Being like Colette said, like it's being willing to be willing, then being willing to be willing to be willing to be willing, then be willing to be willing, and just be willing. Like open your heart. Like you can open your heart this life. It's safe to open your heart and allow others in this life. So, there's this romanticizing and idealizing of romance and isolating individuals, isolating people, rather than allowing them to be vulnerable. Okay. So you don't feel like you're vulnerable. You don't feel like you're vulnerable. Or like you can be vulnerable. Like being vulnerable is not caring what others think of you and giving yourself the space to be real and raw and feel into your emotions and express them, to be open emotionally. You can heal through romance, heal through romantic relationships, self-trust. When it comes to that, you will be, okay, remember this. You will be cared for. You'll be looked after. You'll be protected. This is what you long for. This is what you long for, North Node Libra. You are worthy of this. I was worried about making this video about this placement because I did not know how I would say it because of my strong opinions about it, but now I'm finding the words are very strong and I don't have to just, cut out every little thing I'm talking about and, cut around the truth. No, because it's like, if there is a hard truth, then that's just surface level. Delve into it and see the more compassionate reasons. Like, that's why I said, I don't like others breaking hard truths to me. Like, the only person breaking hard truths is to be myself with my own understanding. Nobody else should break those hard truths to me in life. Otherwise, they are surface level and not explaining it clear enough, and not sitting down and having a real conversation with me about it. They're not taking the time to really sit down and talk to me about it. So, why things are the way they are. We have to understand this. So, you long to be cared for. You long to look out for. This is what your soul longs for. It's about acting on your values while meeting the needs that come with loneliness. acting on your values while meeting these needs. It's about doing both. It's about acting on these values while meeting the needs that come with feeling lonely. Now, admitting that loneliness is a real emotion and something that you like being okay with feeling lonely. Like, it's okay to feel this emotion. It's okay to, look, it's not out to get you. It's not like, don't put it down in the category, like, don't deny or reject it, like, oh, this is bad, or this is, dangerous is the word that she used. Oh, this is, taboo, and I should just, shut this thing completely. Just lean into, like, okay, like, acknowledge, I feel lonely. Like, acknowledge all of those emotions, like, you act out of impulse, and you're angry, and you're aggressive, and you're all this because you're not loving yourself and respecting yourself enough to really lean into these emotions. That way you can, when you respect yourself and love yourself, you can also, that's how you can form harmonious relationships. My gosh, this is the truth of the matter. So, did I just spill it out or what? So, it's okay to feel lonely. Valuing the self. Valuing yourself. And valuing the kind of relationships that you will wish to have. And then kind of repeating this, like, the thing I want to end you on here before stopping this very long and in-depth podcast episode that's been a deep dive is know that you are worthy of love, of care, of forming diplomatic and harmonious connected relationships, and you are worthy of compromise. You are worthy of compromise. You're worthy of all these things that it seemed to be preached and said in this video, just not using the word you. That's the only thing. You are worthy of all these things that Jen Spiller is writing in this book and all these lessons to learn. Like, you are worthy and you deeply want these things. And that is what I want to leave this video on. Oh gosh, wow. We have taken the deep dive into this placement. Thank you for tuning into this podcast. Thank you for tuning into my astrology podcast, The Cosmic Sky. Hope that you are enjoying these series of videos on the nodes. If you've seen the other ones, I'd highly recommend you go see those videos because they follow the same format, the Jan Spiller book and the other. Like this video, share this video, follow this podcast, do all the things. I will see you in the next episode, which will be a very deep episode also. It will be the North Node in Scorpio. Oh gosh, this has been a placement I've been thinking about a long time, and I'm fascinated with it, and I have a lot of things that I wish to discuss with that placement. So it is going to be long, and it is going to be deep. Tune in for that episode when I get there. Anyway, bye for now, everybody.